Hi everybody, this video is about children's mental health. Now, raising awareness there around children's mental health, it's very important for children to have, really for all of us actually, to have good well-beings. But as children, sometimes when things get disrupted, it can follow on for future things, like future, it can affect them in the future. A lot of the time it's like they need a good structure there, good routines. Having a routine is very good for us all, but it's good for children as well. Feeling grounded, feeling safe. They're as a child, growing up, they're learning about the world, learning about themselves, and so forth. A lot of the time, sometimes children, if they're feeling a bit upset, sometimes they don't always say it. They don't always say. It's hard sometimes for children to express how they're feeling. May withhold stuff as well. A lot of the time is protecting. They protect their parents. They don't, from being hurt themselves, from their parents being hurt. They're protecting them in a way that they may not show how they're feeling a lot of the time. Sometimes it's good to reassure children that they can express how they're feeling. I think they need a bit of reassurance there, rather than holding back on things as well. So it's sort of like learning to express how they're feeling. A lot of the time, like being creative, drawing, they're expressing themselves really in a way. They're doing drawings, they got good imaginations as well. But I want to talk about this pandemic, the pandemic that we're in, the lockdown we're in, the third lockdown we're in. There's been a lot of disruption since last year with this pandemic. Children have been pulled away from school, not being able to go to school. Now, education is important for them because they're learning to learn. Being taken away from that environment and having to learn at home on computers and so forth. It's a different environment really, learning at home than what they're normally used to going to school. And as well, they're missing out on seeing their friends. They can go on to Zoom, FaceTime, looking on the screen, talking to their friends, but it's all virtual. It's all virtual, isn't it? It's not like actually going to school to learn and going to school to see your friends, seeing them in person. It's all virtual. But at the same time, it is still good that they can do that, that at least it's something. But at the same time, their routine in some sort of a way has been disrupted because of it. Now, children, like I said, they need a good routine. They need to be normal, to feel the situation that we're in, for it to be as normal as possible. You may think that children, and with this situation we're in, some people may think, okay, they pick themselves up, but not all the time. Not all the time. Sometimes things get held in. This situation that we're in, with children growing up, they're the next generation. How is it going to affect? How is it really affecting them? Parents are doing the best they can. They do the best they can with their children. You know, they're good parents. They do the best they can to look after their children, you know. But sometimes things come ahead, you know, like with us. Some things come ahead sometimes and it starts to affect their well-being. And this situation as well, it's affecting children in some sort of a way, whether they're showing it or not. But there needs to be a bit more support there, because like parents trying to work, juggling work, schoolwork at the same time, I can imagine it can be quite hard for them at times and very stressful. But a lot of the time, children do pick up on things as well, like with their environment. And the thing is, if they're seeing their parents stressed and they're feeling, they can quite easily hold back on how they're feeling, because like I said, they don't want to hurt their parents. They're protecting their parents, but they need to outlet really how they're feeling with this, expressing themselves. So I just wanted to raise the awareness there, because children it's been a bit hard for them through this situation that we're in. Like I said, we've all had it hard, but children, it's different for children. It's harder to process with them what is going on, and they may become confused around it all. So there's tips to do to help your children. I can't sit here and basically say to parents how to raise their children. That's not the issue. What you do is a good job with your children, but sometimes things can be overlooked and you just don't realise. It's not because you failed, it's not because you're a bad parent. That's not the case there. It's just how things are sometimes, So, like, expressing, like, just reassuring your children that they can come to you if they needed to talk to you about things. Expressing, it's very important that children in some sort of a way express their self. They may need a bit of extra support at this particular time as well with it. And also for children that are in foster care homes, that normally would have supervision visits to see their parents, they can't at the moment because of what's going on. So that's tough for them too. It's all about trying to do what you can for your children, really, and give them as much as a normal routine as possible in this situation as well. They need exercise. They need to get out in the fresh air. That in itself would do them good. Go into a park and maybe being a bit mindful. And when I say mindful, this can help with yourself and it'll help with your children as well. Like to help to focus on what's going, being aware a bit more helps for future references. And when I say mindful, make it fun, like, because children, they get very bored, don't they, with things. But if it's like into a game, it's different. So like when you go into the park, some parks, they've got like, you've got nature, you may see squirrels, just something as simple as, see how many squirrels, just see how many squirrels you can see along the walk, or just different things, and it helps them to focus a bit more and be a bit aware, and it will help you as well. Being mindful is very good, very good. It helps you stay focused, present time. All right, some children maybe a bit too young, but it's never too to start being mindful with things as well. But yeah, so I wanted to raise this awareness for children's mental health through this pandemic. But it's not just this pandemic as well. Children have suffered as they've got into their teens with depression as well, any other times as well. So it is important for children to have a good structure, normal as a routine as possible with that. And I think there should be a bit more support as well to help parents with their children. Sometimes more support is needed than what they can give for their child. If their child is starting to show signs, and it's not, like I said, it's not because a parent has failed. It's life. It's what life throws at us as we're growing up that can affect us. So a lot of parents, you're bonding. Parents bond with their children. They normally would know if their child there's something not quite right with their child, and that's when it should be addressed. It should be addressed like as soon as possible to avoid like future, to help with the future, because things can quite easily develop into something as well. Signs of, if your child, if a child is showing signs of going to their room and sitting in their room like low mood, or even feeling angry. They may feel angry, they may even be shouting, feeling angry, frustrated. Is how do you approach that as a parent? How do you approach that if your child is being angry? Just look at the signs there, and you'll see. It's quite easy to see sometimes, but sometimes it can, become unnoticed with it all as well, because you'd be surprised. Children don't miss much. We think that children, and but they don't miss much. They keep things up here as well. So like I said, I wanted to do this video for the awareness of children's mental health, raising that awareness there of what they've been through this pandemic, struggling themselves with it. And for anybody really that is suffering with their mental health or with stuff, it can be quite scary. But for a child that is still growing and learning, at that age, it can be even more scarier, confusing as well with it. So it's like reassuring children that, if ever they needed to talk about anything, letting them know really that it's okay, that they can talk about, if they needed to talk about anything, just reassurance there with it. So I'm going to end the video there. I hope you like this video, and please share this video because it's very important, especially children as well growing. They're the next generation, and we need to protect them, and there needs to be more early prevention, there, things addressed quicker to prevent further, to prevent anything developing, because things like I said, things can develop when you're growing up. Something may have occur and it can quite easily develop into something. Now this, like I said, this situation, how many children are going to have this up in the memory up here of all what is going on, you know, trying to some way, you can't force anybody, you can't force a child to talk, but in some way maybe they need to express a bit more about this situation, get feelings out, get their feelings and emotions out of what is going on, really, to be able to cope, like, to so it's not left and pushed to one side, and then later on in life, or as they get a bit older, things, you know, it can quite easily develop into something, you know, depression as at a young age, it can happen. So it's all about, like I said, like trying to get, like, just reassuring children that it is important, you know, trying to expect, even like I said, even like drawing, like really young children, they do drawings. Be creative with them. That's another thing. Sit down, do drawings with them, and just be creative. Be mindful around it with them as well. So yeah, I'm going to end the video there. Please share this video. It's very important. You know, mental health is very important. And give us a like.